Hi guys, it's Dr. Liz here, and I hope you're having a wonderful afternoon. I'm following up on some things about change and forcing change, and I really want to be talking about that now and through the next few weeks as part of my Happy Marriage Masterclass, and really one of the it's really one of the top 10 problems or obstacles that people have in relationships and marriages. Because, seriously, think about it. In the beginning of our relationships, life might have been easier, might have been simpler. At least in my world, I had finished with school, had my job, um, living in an apartment, okay, and no pets at the time. And so, as my world was simple, my relationship was simple. So I'm thinking about that maybe for you guys, that maybe in those early years it was apartment for both you guys, or a townhouse, or a place that you rented. Maybe there weren't children, there weren't kids, dogs, or anything like that. So responsibilities were easier, lighter. The relationship was fun, it was passionate. We're carrying that energy and that romance from the newness of us. And each of those things are new and special, and getting into our new house is cool and fun, and maybe decorating it is new and cool and fun. And so when we have that euphoria or the new love or lust things, and life is simpler, less moving parts, it is easier to overlook things. It is easier to assume we're both on the same page. And that's where good and bad things happen. Okay? Because as we overlook and don't have big discussions about things we think we are in agreement with, or we overlook habits like leaving the bathroom a mess, or not picking things up, or not balancing the checkbook, or at least looking at the bank statements on a regular basis. Not, we allow and condition our special people in our life, our spouses, our partners, that this is okay. It's not a big deal, or we think we can handle it. It's just no big thing. But as we add other life stressors, good things and bad things, our bandwidth becomes shorter, as well as we're moving out of that stage where everything they do is cute, everything we do is cute and adorable and attractive, into a different level of we're here in the grind now, and these transitions, we're moving into a more permanent, responsible, mature. You had kids, you had dogs, you had changing careers, maybe aging parents, and the pressure's on, and it's these little habits or quirks start to wear on us. What do? It's pretty common that most of us look at them as the problem and say, you've got to stop doing that. You've got to stop spending and overdrawing the checking account. You need to bring home the refund. We have to talk about these spontaneous purchases. We're just, you know, in a negative. And so then we end up focusing on them being the problem, and they have a behavior they need to change. That doesn't bring us together. Maybe they, buckle up and behave for a while, but forced change is not permanent. That's just the way it is. We are humans. We don't like it. We don't respond well to it. It distances people. It builds resentment and anger, and hurt feelings and mistrust. And so our relationship starts to erode, and we don't even realize it. Right? We don't even realize what's happening. So I want you to start thinking about, we're going to flip some of this, and we're going to, rather than focusing on them, we are going to start focusing on ourselves. And I'm going to share with you a real quick story about some of my sweet, sweet couples. But one of the exercises in this, did some exercises, and I want you to start thinking about it as you listen to the story. Okay. Um, I want you to write down, this is your homework, write down what you dream of. What was your dream when you first got into this relationship? What did you think was going to be great? What do you think was going to be feeling fantastic, wonderful, right? You want to write down, what do you feel like you've missed out? What's lacking, okay? Because those kinds of things are dream plus our what we feel our current reality is, those are going to drive our perceptions. They're going to drive our tolerances for these others in our life, right? So, um, Bill and Janie, okay? Bill and Janie, they came to me because they were really, really struggling around some very critical areas in their relationship, and it was escalating. It was getting um, much more volatile. Okay, and so they started talking right off the bat. Bill was saying, "She doesn't get it. I have a goal to retire at a certain age." So he was pretty young. So he's saying, "I want to retire at 50. I don't want to wait for all the things. I want to retire at 50. We've got another, 15 years, and I know we can do it. I know we can. 15 years." And she's a little bit older. She says, "I want to retire too, but I don't want to retire. I don't like the way you're having the money. I don't like the way you have the system," and on and on and on. And what we found out is that Bill had a very aggressive goal around the current finances and how to put them into savings and what the purchases would be, so that it would allow him to hit his goal. She was on board for retiring, but she felt like the plan was too fast and unrealistic for the fact that they had kids and things came up, and she wanted to have fun too. She was about 5 years older than him, and she wanted to have fun. Also, she didn't like being told or forced what to do. So he controlled the budget. He controlled the access that the money went out into it, and she had a certain amount. Let's say she had $1,000 to go buy groceries and whatnot and things. Well, she could get towards the end of that $1,000, and she was running on money, but she still had things she wanted to do. She just pulled out the credit card. See how he likes that when he gets the credit card receipts, she said. And he didn't like it. Okay? He did not like it. And so there was this constant frustration, constant bickering back and forth with each other. Like, we have a plan. You're defying me. You're ignoring me. You have these limits. And so he started actually just cutting her off. She'd go someplace, and he would already turn the credit card off. She'd be right at Target. Nothing. Embarrassment, anger, frustration. It was a really, really vicious cycle. It was getting further and further out of control. And so I had them, let's sit back, just kind of like the exercise I had you guys start dreaming about what you wanted to have, how you saw your life, and writing down what you feel or how you feel like life is right now. And so I had them think, okay, I want each of you to, we're going to use the word forced, we're going to use the word control. In what areas or what aspect of your relationship are you feel like you're being forced or controlled? Kind of parental thing. Because right now they were in a very big, bad, parental child kind of thing. Bill was being the parent and setting the limits. And, Janie was like, follow it until it's convenient, and when it's not convenient, then I'm just going to do whatever I want to do and act out and overspend, right? And then he would become more of a strong arm, boom, and she had become more upset and distant with him. So there was a very, very negative aspect. And they wrote down on this list what they felt what their partner was doing about being controlling, how they felt controlled, what aspect, what specifics about the control. And then I had them say, okay, but that's not it. What do you think is your spouse, your partner's agenda? Why are they doing it? What's their why? What's their goal? What is the need? What is the dream that they had or they have that's doing this controlling behavior? Because they weren't like that when you married them. They weren't like that when you were dating them. She wasn't like that when in the early years. So what do you think their agenda is at this point in time? And they wrote those down, okay, what they're being pressured. And then we started talking about what parts that they agree with. Right? They're having this conversation. And so I said, okay, you feel Bill is being controlling about the money. He's acting out like a parent. He's in fact he's worse than your own father, and he is telling you that if you want something, it has to go on a list, and then that list has to be prioritized based on, is it a want, is it a need, is it urgency, and you don't like that. You're kind of like, I want a free. I'm out here. I'm at Target. This looks cute. Oh, I want it. Um, he's feeling like you're being irresponsible and that you are actually controlling him and him not getting to his retirement goal. And so he's closing down tighter and tighter on that goal. So we laid that out. And we talked about their behaviors that weren't really mature, responsible, equal. Okay, and we talked about the feelings about being this control. So then we looked at the agenda. What is Bill's dream? What's his agenda? And what's yours, Jamie? And we started talking about it, and we realized that um, they actually had the similar agenda. They both wanted to be financially stable. They both wanted to retire with wealth. They both wanted to take care of their kids. They just had not agreed on something. The pace and how this dream agenda would look like in their marriage at this point in time. So that's what we did. We got them to agree, to start realizing what are the similarities, what are the things that we have in common. So Bill did not have to force Janie by cutting her off, and Janie did not have to force Bill to expand his budget by running amok and running up the credit card at the end of the month. Okay? And guess what? When they both sat back and had the aha, like, oh wow, we really do, we really do have these things in common. And then when we heard the words that we felt, I feel like you're suffocating me. I feel like you're kidnapping me. You're forcing me back and forth. We realized that isn't what we wanted. That isn't the loving thing. And that's where we took responsibility. So each stepped back and said, here's what I'm doing. I know that I'm doing. I'm contributing to this cycle. For Janie, she's like, I am acting very irresponsibly. If I don't feel like that's a good, right budget, I need to come to you and we need to talk about what the real costs are when you go out into the world to buy for these kids. Okay? And he said, you know what? I am kind of like sitting up here like the king and saying, it's 50, age 50, age 50. And then really, he said, in the long run, if we hit it at 49, we hit it at 52, I'm probably still going to be okay. I may be disappointed, and we'll deal with that. But I feel like I would like to hit that goal together. And it feels like the way I'm doing it, we're going to be so angry, we won't want to retire together if we make it that long. So they started getting into it by flipping that around, seeing the other person's perspective and their dream, and taking responsibility and accepting where they were contributing to it. So please take some time, think about the dreams, the big dreams of how you guys were, together, what you enjoyed, where were your goals for this relationship. Write down your current state. Where do you feel you are? Where do you feel that you're being controlled, manipulated, suppressed, whatever it might be? You'll come up with the words. Where do you feel the resentment? Where do you feel the bitterness? Right? Then I want you to write down the forcing. I'm being forced. I feel like this is not my idea. What words are you hearing them say? That's part of their agenda. I wish we could come together on this. I really wish that we could spend more time together. I really wish coming into the house was clean. Okay, whatever it is, you'll start to see what the people's inner thoughts or their desires, your spouses, your partners, inner desires are that maybe they aren't even expressing. And then we want to look at, is there anything in that we agree on? Is there anything that we feel like, yeah, I want that too? Because maybe the thing is you're picking on them and you're focusing on is that they're dropping stuff all around the house. Maybe, they're working on this and working on that, and they're leaving their stuff out and you're picking on, please pick up that. Don't do it. Can't you pull it? You know. Maybe what you want to be able to do is find out, do they also want a clean house? Or do they also want this? And maybe what you find out is like, yeah, of course I want a clean house. I want to improve the house. That's why this house is a mess like this. I'm going through and I'm organizing or I'm fixing or doing whatever. We really, really want to spend some time not focusing and actively focusing on them. But we want to go through our agendas, our dreams, what's different. How are you feeling forced? How are you feeling like you're forcing them? You know, what might be their agenda or their inner dream or wishes? And are there any areas that you both feel like you have in common? Take responsibility for your part of this, guys. Take responsibility. Start changing your behavior, your reactions. And as you do that, they will slide in with you. They will align. Bill and Jamie had been having huge escalating fights to the point where, you know, it was not looking very good. And when they started to sit back and take responsibility and change their behavior, like not swiping the credit card just because you could, or not cutting it off, they started changing shaping their spouse, because both people started getting in on the same agenda, a similar dream, just different paces from us. So thanks for dropping in today on the Managing Change, and really, 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 I can't begin to tell you that it's not our job, it's not our responsibility to change them. We do need to accept responsibility for how they used to be perfect, or used to be great, or used to be good enough, and how suddenly they aren't, and our focus is on what they're doing wrong instead of back on us. Because key is, if you want to improve your world, improve your relationship, improve your marriage, whatever you might be, it starts with us, not them. So I'm looking forward to having you inside my Happy Marriage Masterclass. This is just a tip of the iceberg of one of the subject areas that I find couples really struggle with. And so I've identified 10 areas, and I'm not leaving you hanging, because there are always in the course, I have some great videos and instructions and fun activities that we can work on together. When you grab the Happy Marriage Masterclass, and it is for relationships as well as marriages, grab that. Drop inside at Relationships Renewed, my private Facebook group. You can use, I know you guys are in here, use this forum, this group, to talk to me. DM me. Put questions out in the group. No question is, too small or too silly. If it keeps you up at night, if you have a doubt, if you're worried, let me know. I'm here. I want to help. This is the best way I know to be able to get outside my clinical hours, to be able to say, hey, I'm here. How can I help? What do you got going? Plus, I like talking with you guys. You're fun. Take care. I will talk to you soon. Gonna go feed some dogs and cats and fish, and then hopefully ourselves. Bye-bye.